Hey internets, it's Rev, and on this episode we have Benn Friedrich with his upcoming game, Chester United. We dive into the depths after we made some stars. Join us for the Indie Box Indie Road Trip, talk some crowdfunding stats, and officially announce, live, the 2014 Riot of the Year winner. I've got my Riot Shield, grab your rubber bullets and tear gas, it's episode 33 of Indie Game Riot.
Indie Game Riot! Hey everybody, this is JaShinYa, and this is episode 33 of the Indie Game Riot. Hope you guys are doing well today. Tech Rev and our special guest, Benn Friedrich. Say hey.
Hello. I'm not in Germany.
Yeah, he's not in Germany. Well, for everyone who's listening to the edited version, I swore like up and down that this guy was from Germany. And he gets on Skype with us, and he's the most like American sounding son of a bitch.
Right from the middle of America, it's alright.
Yeah, from the heartland. Well, not really. North Heartland. Is that a thing? You're from the northern ventricle.
It's a thing now. It's okay. Yeah, we're very frozen right now.
From the frozen tundra, who's half drunk on Green Bay Packers excitement or whatever.
Oh my god, I'm so excited.
Oh my god.
Is that a sports team?
Yeah, half the people that listen to this show don't know what that is.
I should take this time to educate them of the Packers.
Wait, are you a cheesehead? I know that has something to do with your area.
I hate the whole cheesehead thing, but I am a cheesehead.
Self-loathing at its
It's
finest.
better than being a Redskins fan and being called a racist.
That's true. You don't want that. I'm just weird and have a weird hat.
I'm an Eagles fan, and I've been called all
Oh, I'm
sorts of
sorry.
things. Anyway, moving on.
What have you been up to this week, Rev?
Huh, me?
Yeah, that's
Work.
you. That's your name.
Work and more work, and then some more work, and then just for a change of pace, more work. No,
Did you
last
have a break
weekend.
for work in there?
Yeah, somewhere in there. That was this week. No, during the holiday, Christmas was cool. Had some friends over. New Year's was cool. I was on call, so I couldn't get drunk, and that was okay, I guess. But the following week, like last weekend, I had to drive my daughter back to other parents' location in Utah, and took off Friday after work. I've been up since 5 o'clock in the morning, drive all through the night, get into our destination at 10 o'clock in the morning, and then spend the entire time with my non-brother, and then ended up taking care of him and possibly doing something that was less than legal. And
Indie Game Riot does not condone anything Reverend ever does.
Exactly. But drove back and ended up I was falling asleep at the wheel by the time I hit Vegas at 10 o'clock at night. So I'm like, I'm just going to get a cheap hotel room, blah, blah, blah. And then I find out that CES started while I was there. I was so irritated. So yeah, I visited friends and took care of friends and had fun with friends, and then work. And as soon as we're done with the show tonight, I've got more work.
Fun.
Why do you have to be a productive member of society?
I
Yes,
know, you should stop that.
So
It's
unemployed
overrated.
for so long, and then all of a sudden this happens.
See, and I like that though. Like I bitch about it. I totally bitch about how much work I do, but at the same time, if I'm not working, depression's not fun.
Yeah.
How about you, Tech?
So I have a just a part of my job that relates to a job that you once had, Rev. So if you don't remember, I don't know if this was after a show or between segments or possibly on a show a few months back, but Rev talked about having a job at a place. It could have been a diner or like a fast food place where you had to work like 20-hour shifts.
Yeah, Burger King when I started
King.
I started smoking for my own health.
Yeah. Don't smoke, kids. Well, I had a realization because we had a health inspector coming into the store today, and so the last few days at work have been cleaning everything. And sometimes we don't necessarily change the oil in the fryer as often.
Shut up.
Oh God.
And that stuff smokes. And the smoke's just in the store, and you think, oh, it's just smoke. And then you realize, a few days later when you're scrubbing down the walls from grease, you're like, everyone's breathing this.
Oh, God.
This can't be healthy. So I had a Rev moment where I was just like, maybe I should start smoking.
Wait until it takes you 30 minutes in a hot, steamy shower to cough up the ball of grease.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, God.
Then you need to start smoking.
I'm just going to not step foot in a Burger King for a while.
Yeah, it was horrible.
This is a good time to let you know that Indie Game Riot is brought to you by Burger King. No, it's not. Not at all.
By Domino's.
Yeah.
Burger King and Grease Lung.
What about you, Josh? What have you been up to?
Oh, man. Well, I should probably address the fact that we were on vacation for 2 weeks. Just with holidays. Scheduling gets crazy, and then I'm pretty sure all of us were actually really swamped with our day jobs. So if anyone you wanted to actually sponsor Indie Game Riot, we could quit our day jobs, but whatever.
We're setting up Patreon in the future.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, that's pretty much what I've been doing is holiday stuff because I haven't been doing that, and I have been working on the website and everything like that, so it's not like a true vacation, I guess, but whatever.
Yeah.
And lastly, I did mention, and you heard him multiple times, Benn Friedrich is our guest today. We're going to interview him later after the news, but anything interesting happening with you, Ben, or
nothing too much. Lots of programming. I actually went on an 80s dance night a couple weeks ago. That was kind of interesting.
80s dance night?
80s dance, friend's birthday.
Was there
Long
an
story
80s
short.
dance?
Wisconsin's weird. We have weird things. I ended up stealing my friend's hat, which looked like a cowboy hat on me, and my friend was paying me in beer to go people go howdy and tip my hat and dance with them. So that was fun. Besides that, lots of programming.
I didn't know 80s had a specific dance.
It's all 80s music, not 80s.
Did you put your hair up in a sideways ponytail and have one of those sweaters that come down past your shoulder?
Oh, that's what I look like every day.
Oh, okay. Is that not still a thing?
No, I mean yes.
Well,
What year is it?
Tech? Was that you that made that joke a couple weeks ago? It's 2015, and the top trailers right now are Jurassic Park and what's the
Star
other one?
Wars.
Star Wars, and there was one other. And it's like
would say, but I don't know if I made that joke.
Just take credit for it.
Yeah, that was totally me. Yeah.
Well, I think we should all make like the 80s and give ourselves an indie news injection.
Are you bored with the same old games?
Yeah.
Why, then give yourself an indie news injection.
Thanks, Indie Games.
This week on the Indie News Injection, we are starting out with a amazing Indie Game Riot update. Indie Game Riot, well, most of Indie Game Riot, is going to be at MAGFest this year.
2/3.
January 23rd to the 26th, 2015, National Harbor, Maryland. You want more information, you can check out MAGFest. Meet us there. Or if you miss out, we're going to be doing some awesome reporting from the floor. So make sure to look out for that.
We're going to be doing a lot of networking, so hopefully we'll get some even more interesting guests like Ben. And also, if you see us there, say hi.
Yeah, we'll give you a card, Those are hard to come by.
Depending on how things work, we might do a live broadcast.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
true.
Yeah,
That's
That
good.
sounds interesting.
Right.
Maybe.
Possibly.
Color me intrigued.
Yeah.
Is that like a sexy pink kind of color?
Yeah, a little pinkish purple. It's a good color.
Well, you know what else is a good thing? I would say the Riot of the Year 2014 winner that has actually been announced on our website already, but this is the first time we're announcing it live on the show, or not live for those of you listening to the recorded version. But if you haven't checked it out on our website, the winner is Endless Legend by Amplitude Studios. So congratulations. There you go.
All sorts of clapping.
Yeah, Amplitude Studios. We're going to be sending them their award in the mail. We gave them like one of those little digital fancy, like badges that you can put on like scene profiles and stuff. So they have that. But we are sending them a physical award. If you listen to the last 2 episodes, you heard Rev talk about the award, and it happens to be a Riot Shield.
It arrived.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It arrived.
Is it bigger than you thought it was?
It's actually smaller, and it's definitely lighter. There is no way in hell that thing weighs 5 pounds.
5 pounds.
Wow. I'm curious to see what this thing looks like.
Yeah,
it's a Riot Shield.
Well, Amplitude promised to send us photos when they got it.
That's
out there unboxing. Yeah.
So in the spirit of the Riot of the Year, we also had our staff picks for Riot of the Year, which unfortunately did not, or in some cases, did not necessarily win.
In 2/3 of the cases.
That's some of them.
So Doc, why don't you tell us about your pick for Riot of the Year?
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
Oh, yeah. I thought for some reason I thought you said Rev, and then I realized there was a hard J.
Yeah.
One beer.
Really? Yeah, my pick was the winner, Endless Legend. That was my first pick. So yeah, I win. You guys owe me like $100. Well, Rev doesn't because he's funding the award. So, but yeah, tech. Anyway, yeah, Endless Legend, and my second pick was actually this War of Mine. And for those of you who are wondering, because we all had you guys vote for yourselves and see. And although fan votes were 55% of the voting, the Endless Legend was actually number 1 in fan votes as well, followed by Dreadout, which was actually kind of surprising to me. Not that it's a bad game, but I was just surprised. And again, surprising, The Last Tinker, City of Colors,
which was what I voted for.
Yeah.
Which was really surprising, according to, he messaged me, he was like, I need your vote. And
well, not to mention that you're a monochromat, and it's called the freaking Last Tinker City of Color.
Right?
That's true. About that.
That was Josh's thing. I don't remember what my secondary choice was.
It
was Neverending Nightmares.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that game was so freaky.
That was also surprising to me because you pee yourself very easily.
I know, right? It took me 3 months to play that game. But I completed that game.
Yeah, and for people who know me personally, it probably isn't a huge crazy jump to hear that my pick was Pixel Piracy, because I love me some pirates. I actually have a magnet on my car that's in like the support our troops ribbon, but instead it just says support pirates and it has a Jolly Roger on there. And my second pick was See No Evil.
That was
really
really surprising.
Yeah, I don't know. Something about it spoke to me.
Well, you certainly didn't see anything in it.
Exactly.
That was a bad joke. Bad joke.
Clever.
Yeah.
We're editing that out in post.
That's how bad it was. There you go.
Just edit it in every 10 minutes. That joke will be.
That joke has gone on a vacation and like a road trip. Yeah.
It died.
Look at that one.
Oh, good segue. Sorry, I was playing this week's free fun game. So the Indie Box.
Focused.
I am. The great indie road trip with Indie Box, our good friends over there. They are hosting the indie road trip. So they're in Orlando, Florida. That's where they're out of. And they're headed to PAX South. And it's a 17-hour drive. And they are doing it in style. They're packing up an RV with a couple of the team members, and it's indie guys, so they love indie games, and they're streaming the entire thing. So they've got all of the past Indie Box games as well as new games from around the world, and it's going to be twitch.tv/the Indie Box, and they'll play each game for 30 to 60 minutes as they travel from Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, through Louisiana, then into Texas. This all starts January 20th through the 21st. So check that shit out.
And two things too to add to that. One, if you're an indie dev and you happen to be, they even have a little map link on their website there. But if you happen to be along the route, they can stream your game possibly if you contact them about it. If they are stopping through your area or anything like that, you can meet them somewhere and stream your game. Second thing is one new thing about us, IndieGameRiot.com. They gave us an affiliate link. So if you feel like, one, supporting the indie box and the indie devs that they are featuring, and two, supporting Indie Game Riot, feel free to go to IndieGameRiot.com and click on their icon on the right-hand side of all the posts. So there's that.
Cool.
That's
and
cool.
Who's that? Wait. Oh, you're up next again, Rev. Look at you.
God damn it.
You giant ham.
So many topics for you.
God. I'm more than halfway through my 50% bourbon sour, and
It's not a bourbon whiskey anymore.
Right? Ooh,
He's gone through all the bourbon. It's in the whiskey.
Yeah, next up is Dewar's White. I'm running low on Gentleman Jack. So there is a new free open source engine that is being released, the Godot, because I refuse to mispronounce things like tech or Josh.
No, it was tech. It was tech.
Sorry. Oops. Booze. It was an in-house tool that was developed by Ocom Studio for all of their projects, but they've decided to release it under the MIT license February of last year. Unfortunately, they didn't really make that too public and then released the official stable 1.0 in December. So it is no strings attached, open source game engine. It is the closest to the big players of Unity or Unreal, but sorry about that. Somebody knocked on the door. It has editors for Windows, Linux, and Mac. Nobody cares about that, but thank you very much for being agnostic when it comes to OS. Can be used to create 2D and 3D games. And while Unity uses 2D in a 3D environment, Godot has a 2D base and a 3D base engine.
So basically, it's not fake 2D. Right.
And it supports Python-based scripting, as well as the engine itself is C++, and you can expand and fork and all of that fun stuff as necessary. Includes animation tools. Go ahead.
Oh, it's because it's open source. You can just touch it.
Yep. Man, touch. Never mind. Sorry. Animation tools, built-in debugging, and it is on GitHub, or they have their official website that you can check it out, godotengine.org.
And they say that actually, as they come out with updates, they could even possibly surpass Unity, something like Unity.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty robust for a free engine.
That's what we're talking about.
Impressive.
MIT license and everything.
I'll have to take a look at that.
Yeah, man.
From the free world of awesome, wow.
Where are you going with this one?
That was a good segue.
You know what else you should take a look at?
Into Kickstarter, but not just Kickstarter, but some of the numbers behind 2014 and some of the amazing goals and things that were funded in 2014 in terms of games. Now, a lot of companies are going out and going to Kickstarter looking for money to make these games that they love and want to give to the public. And they ran the numbers for 2014, and they also compared them to 2012 and 2013, and they found that so you had 1,979 funded game projects in 2014, and that is up from 1,481 from 2013 and a small little 913 from 2012. But the crazy thing is that less money was pledged in this month than in this year, technically last year, than the years previous. So in 2012, $74 million went through Kickstarter into funding games. Those 913 games that were funded saw $74 million. And then in 2013, the 1,400 games saw $105.6 million. But that fell in 2014 to $76.1 million.
That's still a crazy high number.
It is, and the thing that's like really interesting was the average per campaign, and it's kind of they're seeing like this. They're kind of seeing a correlation between the lower averages to the amount of games that were submitted, because the amount of games being submitted through campaigns is increasing exponentially. It turns out that people are spreading their money out more thinly. So instead of giving $100 to one game, they're giving like 25 to 4. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then on top of that, there weren't like any big what they call blockbuster projects like Double Fine or something like that.
Yeah, or like Abduction or was Star Citizen on Kickstarter?
They were, and then I think it got taken off, and then now it's just through their website or something.
Right. But I also think that these numbers, although they do tell that story, there's a different side of things to that, because you have a lot of people who aren't looking for as much money. Like, we talked to Jay, and we're going to talk to Ben later in the show. Actual interview, style. But there are a lot of games now where, now that Kickstarter is this place where you can, hopefully find funding for your game. Some people don't need $100,000 to make a game. Sometimes people only need, $2,500 to, finish it. They already have a lot of time into it. And so, yes, the number of games being funded is higher, but is the money needed to fund those games higher? And that, I think, is a number that they should have.
Seeing a lot of like 15,000 as opposed to 25, 50,000.
Exactly, and obviously that's going to keep it down because there are stretch goals, but once something hits its mark, it's very rare to see it go completely, blow completely past that unless it was a relatively high mark and the stretch goals are amazing and they have the community behind it. So, obviously Kickstarter is still a really good place to fund your game, because just in the funded games, almost 2,000 games in 2014. That's a lot. I mean, I haven't done the math, but that's a lot of games per day. Well, exactly. Those are successful ones. And I mean, come on, man. That's just good.
You know what else is good?
What's that?
The Indie Game Festival is they announced some nominees for or the nominees for their award categories for this coming year, 2015. And so basically, if you don't know, Indie Games Festival is held every year. This is their 17th award ceremony, and they basically honor the most outstanding indie games in various categories, including like they call it the Seamus McNally Grand Prize, but it's basically Indie Game of the Year in their eyes. Some of the most notable. I'm not going to go through all of the list, but the what am I trying to say? The categories that they're giving awards out for is excellence in visual art, excellence in narrative, excellence in design, excellence in audio, the Nuovo Award, which I believe is kind of like an award for experimental games. Does that sound right?
Yeah. Nuovo. Whatever. Yeah. Sounds right.
Close enough.
Well, I mean, just judging by the games, that are nominated, because actually Elegy for a Dead World that we did last episode is nominated in this category. So I'm pretty sure that's for like experimental games. And then finally, the Seamus McNally Grand Prize, Indie Game of the Year, if you would so like to call it. The nominees are, drum roll, not really, 80 Days.
I was preparing for one.
80 Days by Inkle Studios, Invisible Ink by Clay Entertainment. Is that how you pronounce it? Clay, whatever. I don't know. Clay. Outer Wilds by Team Outer Wilds. Thank you. Very original. The Talos Principle by Crow Team, which we did that one. We also did Invisible Ink, but we also did the Talos Principle. Metamorphobit, Patrick Smith developed that one, and This War of Mine we also covered by 11-Bit Studios. And also some honorable mentions, some interesting ones that we also covered. Endless Legend and Shovel Knight are in the honorable mentions for the grand prize. So awesome games.
That's actually a pretty good lineup of nominees.
Yeah,
I'm glad that they didn't go with the it's Transistor versus Shovel Knight. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Transistor is actually... They're not... I don't think
I'm
they're...
surprised it's not in there at all.
Were they this last year or
good to
the
mix it
year
up.
before, actually? Were they this last year?
I think it was this year.
No, they were this last year because we freaking nominated them.
Yeah.
They weren't... They're not even in, like...
Wow.
Are they in
expect
audio?
at least an honorable mention from them.
Doesn't look like. Let's check.
No, they're not in anything. I just realized that. Wow.
That is really surprising.
I would think even at least in the audio because they're freaking
like their
soundtracks.
narration is just and their soundtrack
Yeah.
fantastic.
But anyway,
We're sorry.
but anyway, Indie Game Festival. Check it out. It's coming up this year. Those are your nominees. It will be held at the actually I'm not. Oh, in San Francisco Moscone. Is that how? Center? You should know this, Rev. I don't know.
I've never been to San Francisco.
And it's going to be March 4th through the 6th this year.
Ooh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make that.
They also have Independent Game Summit. Wait. Oh no. The Independent Games part of it is coming March 2nd through the 3rd. They have the dates split up. Don't judge me.
Moving on.
Yeah, moving on. So now, you guys have been listening to him during this episode, Benn Friedrich. What a brilliant man. Bow down. And
I would not go that far.
but this is the point in time that we interview him about his game. If you don't know, Ben developed or is in the process of developing a game called Chester United, and it looks...
Now this is a sequel.
Yeah,
correct.
I kind of try to hide that the first one existed though, because it's not that great.
For all intents and purposes, we can just say that this is like your
brand new
game. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. But Chester United, we actually saw Chester United during an indie game, the Indie Game's 36-hour live stream. They were streaming his game and talking to him via Skype and everything like that. And Rev and I saw it, and we were like, "Oh man, that game looks awesome!" So we contacted him and asked him to come on the show, and he's like, "I guess." And we're like, "Fantastic!"
You're gonna force me into it. I guess I'll do it.
And it was kind of legitimately like that. It was like, hey, I do a podcast. You should totally come on the show. And he was like, oh, okay, email me.
Yep. It was a good exchange.
How it usually goes down, you know.
And now he's regretting it. So who?
Hang up and just leave.
I'll go first, just to get this out in the air. What is exactly Chester United?
It's let's go with crazy fun. It's kind of a weird game. You play as this thumb-looking guy. I'm not really sure what he is. People ask, and I just say he's a thumb thing. On his quest to get back his cupcakes, and that's about it. You get cupcakes. You can change the style of the world around you and your character on the fly. It plays into the story in a weird way, like. There's like an interdimensional rift, and you can grab your other personalities from other dimensions and bring them in, and that's how the styles work too. But it's all nonsensical, just to kind of explain the mechanics of the game.
But it's basically like a puzzle platformer-y?
Yeah, puzzle platformer / action platformer.
Right. Okay. Wait, Rev's next, I think, because he actually wrote his first.
Okay. Oh,
we go round robin.
I typed my questions first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Prepared questions. I'm excited.
Right?
I don't have
I'm just filling them in. So, this is kind of the gimme throwaway question, because I try to ask everybody except our last interview because I was told not to. But given that Brilliant Blue G is basically just you, how much time would you say you spend wearing pants while developing?
Only the most professional questions from Indie Game Riot.
This is a very professional question. I'd give 50-50.
Breaking
Depends
news.
what time of the day. Yeah. Actually, I saw a mouse a couple of days ago, so I've been wearing pants 100% of the time since then, but before that, it's
In case you have to
50.
in case you have to make a break for it out the door.
Yep. Like, I was like, the floor is lava. There was a mouse. I could not touch the floor, so that was exciting. But before that mouse, 50-50 is probably pretty close.
Okay, fair enough. Tech?
Same question?
Here's a question. Yeah, same question. So you're a relatively young guy. So like what?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what really got you started in game design, coding, etc.? Like what triggered you to want to actually do this?
It's actually kind of a really stupid thing. Like, Chester was originally going to be like a little short animation, and I was working on that, and I don't remember where I saw it, but it was some news, or not a news article, but an article on the dye that they use in blue M&Ms is called Brilliant Blue G. I was like, that would make a really good independent game studio name. So that caused me to go over to independent game development because of the name. Yep.
So are you like afraid that you might get sued by the patent owner of Brilliant Blue
I hope
G
not.
dye?
If that happens, I'm gonna change the name. I'm gonna get rid of one of the L's and be like Brilliant
It's gonna be-
Blue G.
It's gonna be like a Fez situation where his partner screwed him
shut
over.
up. Shut up.
Hopefully that doesn't happen.
Basically,
Can I ask a fast follow-up question to that?
Oh yeah, sure.
So
hog it.
your background is mostly in animation?
It's all over the place. I originally went to school for animation, then I switched over to computer science for like a semester, and now I'm fine arts, which doesn't really apply to much, but
Okay.
animation was in there somewhere.
Gotcha.
It was actually, you mentioned Ed, Edd n Eddy earlier. That was one of the big inspirations for animation.
I mentioned earlier that we saw you on the Indie Box, and you spoiled the answer for me. But for everyone listening to the recorded version or came in late to the live stream, are you partnering with them in any way in the future since you were with them on the live stream?
I'm over to say so much a partnership. The next demo that I release will be through Indie Box in their, I think, February box. They're going to have a demo for Chester United as long as I can get it done. And that's going to be a demo exclusive to them.
Oh, man. Damn it, not the Indie Box.
You better buy it. But yeah, I'm not sure if it'll extend past that. Like, there's nothing set for like an official Chester Indie Box or anything like that yet. But I would definitely be interested in doing that in the future, but nothing yet.
All right.
Rez very bad at just
I
filling
was
these
typing
gaps.
my next question. I'm sorry.
Preparation,
Wrong.
not brought to you by Indie Game Riot.
I had my prepped questions, but I thought of some more. So, what things? So we're keeping the rest of your stuff on the down low, but Chester United being your, in air quotes, first game. What things did you learn from previous development cycles that you were able to bring to Chester United?
The biggest thing was probably just have a scope and not go past the scope. Like, have an idea of what's going to be in the final game and not just, like, don't allow feature creep. Don't just be like, oh, this would be a good idea, I'm going to add that in, and just, that's how development gets to be, like, 4 years
Just
long.
like bite more often than you can chew and stuff.
Yeah.
That's
Then you
something
lose the polishing time, too, where you can't really polish up the final product either. And sorry for interrupting you there.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you're fine. I was interrupting you.
You monster. But yeah, I suppose just knowing what to finish would probably be the biggest thing I learned.
I know I'm skipping over tech, but this kind of leads into one of my questions kind of perfectly. So, I mean, you mentioned, like, not going overboard with the game. But, I mean, what kinds of challenges have you come across while you're developing the game? And, like, how'd you overcome them? Like, even if it's just, like, programming challenges or something like that, where you're like, why isn't this working?
Oh, there's lots of why is this not working. Like, I'm not much of a programmer. Like I said, like, 1 semester of computer science maybe, and mostly a fine arts and animation background, so that's a big thing. But the biggest thing is probably finding time to work on it, really. Like, the last year, I probably took a decent amount of time off of development just because I didn't have the time for it. Now I'm on it full time, but it's tough finding the time in between everything else to actually work.
Life gets in the way.
Yeah, everything gets in the way. Yep.
So I am a really big proponent of tight like simple to understand, well implemented controls in a game. What do you look for in games that you make and then games that you play? Like, is it story? Is it control? Is it like, a mixture of the two? Like, what draws you to a game to either make it or play it?
I'm a bit all over the place, I think. Like, the biggest game I've been to recently was probably Transistor. I haven't actually finished it. Like, for that, I go for the narrative and for the art style. Actually, art style is probably the biggest draw for me, because my favorite games like Jet Set Radio, just the look of that is amazing. Transistor Bastion, they have such a unique style to them that I'm really drawn to them. So I'm supposed to have to go with the artistic style as my biggest draw.
Okay.
And go ahead, Rev, since I kind of jumped in there.
I don't know. Whatever. I'm not a coder. I work in IT. I do infrastructure and systems administration, and I can't program to save my life. Like, I can read and troubleshoot and debug code, but actually making code. So, with that in mind, playing through the online demo, the Unity demo of Chester United, the transition swap between styles, it's not perfectly instantaneous, but it is so smooth, and I love the effect. What was your thought process behind that particular mechanic, and how difficult was it to make that into reality?
Oh, wow. I actually went through probably about 4 or 5 different ways of actually getting the style transitions to work. Some ways would look fantastic, but they would slow down on anything that wasn't just like a top-of-the-line computer, so I had to swap that out. Then actually just switched it up again about a month ago with the loading in the assets, and I think I'm in a good place with it now. But it was I'm not much of I'm kind of a programmer, but it was a pain to come up with that. Many monitors were punched through. Oh, you know it. Yes, gone through 8 laptops.
Wait, legit?
No, not really.
Oh, okay. I was gonna be like,
turns out Ben has an anger management problem.
Or that terrible coffee. But yeah, that was definitely one of the hardest things to work out. I just switched up recently where now it loads in select assets, where before it was unloading select assets, where like the initial loading time is a bit slower now, but in the long run it'll be faster loading. I'll probably end up switching it again because that's what I do.
Tech, you can go.
Well, I was actually distracted because my girlfriend brought me food. So Josh, you can go.
Food and boobs, good.
That's a good way to get distracted.
So you were in Japan. You told us before this show. You were living there for how long?
About a year.
About a year.
Yeah, studying abroad.
In Japan, is there a heavy indie scene? And a second part question of that is, as far as the indie scene in general goes, what's been like the best experience within the indie gaming community?
For Japan, I never encountered much of an indie gaming scene too much. I ended up finding out about there's like an indie game show in Tokyo, but I found out the last moment, and it was right before I was heading back to the US. Couldn't actually make it to it. But besides that, I'd never really heard anything about indie games too much. And what was the second question?
Like, as far as like the indie gaming community in general, like, have you had any really what's your best experience within the community?
Honestly, I've not been involved with the community as much as I would like to be, but like the Indie Box stream was fantastic. That was fun. Just kind of watch some people play the game and talk to them while they do that.
Well, like in the Indie Box stream, it's just kind of that kind of shows, and you probably experienced like how supportive everyone is and everything like that.
Yeah. Like everyone in the industry seems very supportive. Like I feel like you wouldn't find that in many other industries. It's unique to this, I think, or just the indie scene in general.
What'd you say?
Wow, everything is falling.
Well,
you quit making the game.
Don't dislocate your jaw as well.
Yeah, he's busy making the game to be part of the community.
I guess I actually got to make sense. Like when indie game developers start making a game, they become hermits for a while.
That's definitely true. Like all the games you guys are listing, I'm just so out of the loop. Like I've heard of pixel piracy, and I was like, that looks really fun. But besides that, I was just like,
it's actually
what are these things?
So This is probably going to be a question that you're not going to be able to answer, but are there any plans to bring Chester United to other platforms like 3DS or mobile platforms, or maybe Xbox or PS4?
There are possible plans for all the home consoles, but I can't say too much just yet because they're not confirmed. But I'm hoping to bring it to all consoles and to the Vita as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think you would do well on the Vita. 'Cause, I mean, it's kind of like
it's like an indie machine now. So I'm definitely targeting the Vita. That's one of the top ones, but nothing confirmed yet.
Okay.
All right. Whose turn is it? Jet Rev?
It's mine.
Go for it.
So you said you weren't ever really part of the indie scene before you started developing, but given all of that, like how surprised were you to find out just how much the general public of the indie game scene is excited for this project, for this game?
I was fairly surprised. Like, I've been working on it for a couple of years now, and then it never really caught on much until maybe the last, like, month and a half. It's been a very pleasant surprise. Like, just emails of people, like, saying they're interested in it and wanting to cover it, and, like, random small game blogs covering it. It's been good.
So, corollary question to that. How much have you put out into the general public? Like, do you spend any time doing marketing, as it were, PR?
I just started doing that recently over the past couple of weeks. I'm trying to keep I have a Tumblr devlog that I try to keep updated. I just started the Facebook page for Brilliant Blue G. Trying to be a little more active on Twitter. I used to have a little activity on there, but have kind of fallen off recently, so I'm trying to bring that back in, because I feel like that's how indie games get sold, is through like social marketing and people just knowing the developers, really.
Yeah, YouTube and just word of mouth and Reddit.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna try to start a weekly YouTube series of just showing like the changes in development over the past week every week, because I figure that'll be something to get the game out there a little bit.
Yeah,
definitely.
Let's see. What was it? Oh, you want to go?
You can go.
You want to go?
Right. Fine, I'll go.
I got a question. You good?
I hopefully have an answer.
All right. So basically, what was it? Oh, yeah. Since you've been doing this for a couple of years, do you have any advice? Through your 2 years of experience, or more actually, since you went to college and things like that. Do you have any advice for any aspiring indie devs who are just starting or wanting to start, things like that?
I'd say just kind of jump in, like grab Unity or try out Godot maybe, and just start with a small project. Like take like an old arcade game like Frogger or Robotron and just try to recreate something like that.
Flappy Bird.
Just because, it's Flappy Bird.
By the way, Flappy
just don't
Bird.
release it on the Wii U.
Talking about something easy to start with. Actually, Flappy Bird has like someone made it with 17 lines of code.
Yeah. Like something small.
Yeah.
So you don't want to go in and be like, I want to make this amazing game, and then you'll get overburdened very quickly.
As someone who likes making films, like that's the first thing I tell people. Like, I've been doing this for the better part of a decade, and I'm like, and everyone's like, I got this awesome idea, and I'm just like, that's cool. Hold on to that. Don't focus on it, because you're never going to be able to get it finished.
Yeah. Maybe 10 years later, give it a shot.
So,
but yeah, it's start small. That's good to go.
Now, going back to more like game specifics, because everyone wants to know about the game. What are you designing it around, like a controller based or a keyboard based? Are you keeping it kind of open? Like, what's the best way to play it?
Definitely controller based. I am terrible with like keyboard controller schemes, so just definitely controller.
So are you gonna like maybe reach out to the community, like beta or like closed beta, figure out like, hey, what are the best PC? Because I have a controller, I've got a keyboard, but for some reason
I just use an Xbox.
Oh yeah,
that's what I've got.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely designed for Xbox controller, but I will, like, I'm doing releasing a lot of demos. I'm probably gonna try to get people to give me like keyboard feedback. Like, you can customize the control scheme, so I'm gonna have people kind of be like, hey, this is one that actually is decent as opposed to the garbage you provided us. Deal.
I actually sent you an email about that.
I eagerly await it because you've probably tried the keyboard scheme. You've been like, "What is wrong with this guy?"
Well,
It's like you can control your movements with Q, P, M, and Z.
It's arrow keys based.
It's artistic.
Giving you the frustration. I'm kind of running out of questions that haven't been jacked by somebody that didn't prepare his own fucking questions.
I was given the wrong information.
No, you were not. I told you I gave you 2 weeks in advance. Anyway,
this is a repeat of Icebound.
VH1 behind the podcast.
Hey, that was an easy problem to have happen, though.
It was not. I emailed twice to double check that we had the right game. Okay, sorry. Metacast aside. What was my next question? Damn. Fine. I'm going to give the one that I asked for. I wrote down for tech. When you dev, a lot of developers will do a stream. That's just them sitting there on webcam in a frame of whatever it is they're working on. Do you do that? And if so, what is your link? And if not, why not? And what is your link?
I might start doing that soon, like that weekly video series I was talking about. It might be something kind of like that, but right now I don't have anything.
Yeah, you can stream it on Hitbox.
Yeah.
There you go.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I don't know what that. Oh wait, is that the thing we're
That's
currently
what we're on.
That's the one we're currently
And I do
podcasting.
know what that is.
It's a pure Twitch.
Yeah.
It's like you and your words, I don't know.
Oh, such a sheltered.
Hitbox.tv/Ben Fried.
It'll be a
Rich,
hit.
actually.
Tens of viewers, maybe.
I've got one more question. I don't know.
All right.
I don't know if
That's
Josh
the
has-
last one, actually. I was going to say.
This better be good.
Oh,
then.
well,
I'm
I was
excited.
gonna have one more question. One more. Where can people find you?
Okay.
I've got a Tumblr. The dev blog is on a Tumblr, so that's blog.brilliantblueg.com. I'm on Twitter at Twitter/Ben Fried, and then there's a Facebook page for Brilliant Blue G as well that they all basically update with the same content, so you can kind of follow one and get all of it. But those are going to be the 3 best places, and the Brilliant Blue G website. But that's basically just linking back to the blog.
Awesome. And, since I was already going to do that, mention his website and everything, you can find Benn Friedrich, blog.brilliantblueg.com, and the things that he said already. And we eagerly await your dev vlogs, I guess you would call them, where you're showing all the updates. I hope that happens.
Oh, yes. They're going to be terrible, but it'll be fun.
Yeah. Do you have a public demo already?
Oh, yes, there's a, if you go to brilliantblueg.com, there's a nice big glowing box that you can click to get the current demo. You can do web player, there's PC, Mac, and Linux. I'm not 100% sure on the Linux build because I haven't been able to test it myself, but it's Unity, so I'm going to hope it works. If you find any bugs, get in touch.
Rev, you have Linux, don't you?
Yes. I also have Windows, several Mac, and yes.
But you can test it for him.
I played the demo via web play.
You can test it for him. There you go.
Yeah, I'll totally see what I can do for you.
So Ben is Ben is going to stick around for the rest of the show. But thank you for coming on the show and answering our questions. And we expect your Social Security information in the mail by tomorrow.
It'll be with a teddy bear full of beer.
But he's going to stick around for the rest of the show and give his thoughts on the games that we are featuring this week. Speaking of games that we are featuring this week, up next is Starting to Riot. And this week on Starting to Riot, we have a deep, deep game. It's really not that deep, but the gameplay is. It is called Depth, and it's a multiplayer game set in a dark aquatic world. According to their website, that is a quote. But basically, a multiplayer game where it's like a pseudo. I don't know, maybe like a cops and robbers kind of thing, but it's sharks and divers. And apparently it's like a lot of people are saying, not because it's hard, but a lot of people are saying that it's one of the scariest games they've ever played just because of how intense the gameplay is. Because you'll be just swimming around in a dark cave looking for a shark to kill, and all of a sudden just right from behind you through the dark, just blah, and you're chomped in half, or you're out in the deep, dark, open water where it can come from any direction. And I gotta say, being a shark would bring so much joy that warms the cockles of my heart.
Here's the biggest problem with that. If you are not like hosting your own server, it's nearly impossible to play as the shark because everyone wants to play the shark.
Yeah. Everyone wants to play the shark because no one wants to get the shit scared out of them.
This sounds like a terrifying game. I can't. Oh god.
Yeah. I don't know if I can handle that kind of intensity, but it's cool too because you can actually choose. There's like different classes.
It's like a buy system.
Yeah, there's different classes of sharks and divers, that have strengths and weaknesses.
So the more that you do, you unlock either money as the divers or like just arbitrary, I guess, points as the shark.
Points.
You can, get different abilities as the shark, or buy different weapons as the divers, or buy sonar buoys or bombs or what have you. But these are multi-stage levels that you're going through, so you don't want to be like, oh, okay, we need to defend here and plop down all your buoys, only to realize that you have 30 seconds left in this area, and then you have to, go forward and leave all your sonar behind.
One of the things that really intrigues me about this game, and I'm gonna have to reach back into ancient antiquity and AAA, but do you remember the spies versus guards mode of Splinter Cell? I think it was Chaos Theory. It was the first multiplayer.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the vibe that I get out of this. Just kind of watching it and seeing what happens here. Like you've got, I'm exploring the ocean depths and this is cool, and oh fuck, there's a shark, and then like it's very much the exact. Emotionally, for me at least, it's very much the same content with a different skin over it. And I think, as much as sharks are one of my only true phobias, I think I prefer this over. Yeah, I don't go in the ocean. I live 10 minutes from the beach. I'd never go in the ocean.
I agree with you.
You're more likely to get by lightning, right?
Yeah, I know, but the shark
doesn't have scary teeth.
That's
exactly.
true.
And lightning evolves. They have ball lightning and they have sheet lightning, and like sharks haven't evolved in 65 million fucking years.
It's because they're perfect
for that long.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I stay out of the ocean where the sharks are. They stay off of the land where I am.
OG.
And things are good. But I love this game. Like this isn't.
This
quite
game would scare
dinosaurs, but-
like this
I
thing
don't
would
think
scare
I could
the shit
play
out of
this
you.
game. Like I would just be unable to play.
What's funny is that I used to
terrified.
I used to want to be like a marine biologist.
Yeah.
And like specifically, I wanted to study sharks.
I hate you.
I'm
You
like
are the enemy.
Yeah, I'm like a shark advocate.
What's crazy about this game is that it is it's literally just jump scare the game, except it's not. Like it's literally
Let's jump scare the game with like actual good gameplay where you have to teamwork and stealth and wit.
And you can kill the sharks. Like when a shark bites you, you can stab it, and if your teammates shoot it, you lose some health. The sharks are squishy. They're glass cannons. Like they kill you really fast if you can kill really fast, but they die really easily. So it's really a strategy.
High damage, low HP.
Exactly.
For anybody that doesn't understand what glass cannon means.
Yeah. Sorry.
Something, if we're going to talk about the sharks here, like they have, let's see, some like of their, what would I say, upgrades that you can unlock. Hydroacoustics, so you can, it's like a sonar. Electroreception, where they can identify the equipment that the divers are using. Hangry. The shark awakens so hungry it becomes angry.
I feel they had all these scientific words and then hangry.
Yeah. Minesweeper, homogenesis. Let's see, I'm looking for one. Ignore pain. There you go. Razor fins. Oh, so you can cut people in half while you're swimming.
That's good to know.
Hammerhead. But yeah, there's all kinds of different things, upgrades. You can upgrade your characters, or I guess, whatever you're using, deciding to use what class. And just give some information on basic information. This is actually one of the more expensive games that we're covering. It is fully released though, at least, but it is $24.99 on Steam. It is unfortunately only for Windows at this point. And the developers, Digital Confectioners.
Sounds like cake.
It's like this is like a cupcake,
right? For a crazy, scary game.
Yeah. Like I don't think I'm on the website and a shark fin just flew by and I just jumped. I could not actually play this game. The website scared me too much.
There was a mouse riding on it.
Oh no, my worst nightmare.
You know what's even scarier than getting killed by a shark?
Your breath.
Being
Not getting
jettisoned
killed by a shark.
Space.
Jettisoned in space. That reminds me of the thing we're going to do in Peep Show.
Space sharks. Wait, what? Peep Show? I'm slightly terrified.
Yeah, Peep Show.
Peep Show.
Oh god, I have to go.
Please give all your attention to Early Access.
The game that we were talking about on Peep Show today is one that is so close to my heart, almost closer than that one, free fun game that we talked about a few episodes ago. This is StarMade. Now, StarMade, is a, how do I put this? Let's put it as simply as possible. StarMade is the game that every single space modder Minecraft player wishes they had. In this game, you start out as just someone in space. You're near a space shop. You're given a few, pieces for a ship and a few credits, and you're just left to your own devices. You can build a ship. You can find other planets. You can find traders. You can find pirates. You can find abandoned space stations. And they have, oh my God. Like, I played this game like a full-time job over a year ago. I'm not even kidding. So
I was going to say, Galacticraft has nothing on this.
No, it has absolutely nothing on this. So we're talking an entire galaxy. We're not talking, oh, it's a galaxy so you can warp to planets. No, you're flying to planets and it's going to take you a while. Things are spaced out like space. There are asteroids. There are planets.
So to fly to another planet, it's going to take 100,000 years or?
No, flying to another planet, it takes, depending on the different sectors, it usually takes about 3 to 5 minutes, which probably is one of the more boring parts of this game, especially considering that.
Well, it's like your time to organize your stuff, right?
Oh, kind of. But there isn't an autopilot yet. At least none that I've used. But what's that?
Oh, no, go ahead.
Oh, and there is seriously so much that you can do with this game, and they've added so much recently. There are now logic circuits that you can build into it, kind of like Redstone in Minecraft. And yes, this is a voxel based, blocky game, but it's not just squares. It's not just cubes. You can have slanted angle sections. You can have triangular sections. You can have the opposite of the triangular sections in the cubes. It's weird when you see it. Everything makes
polygons.
What? We're in the future.
Whoa.
So you build your own spaceship to look however you want to look.
Yeah.
In the trailer,
that sounds pretty cool.
In the trailer, at about 2 minutes and 15 seconds in, somebody built the Enterprise A.
Yep. Yeah, you can
That
do that.
is cool.
Not only that, but you can walk around on that ship. You have gravity generators.
What?
I don't know if we talked about this before, but we talked about Space Engineers, I think, on an earlier episode. If not,
Futurama ship.
I don't think we talked about it in an episode, but you mentioned it.
Well, if you've heard of Space Engineers, this game has nothing on Space Engineers. Space Engineers is very much realistic. Here's a drill. Here's a gun. You're making realistic ships. This one, it takes all of the boring, realistic crap out of it and gives you full control. The control in this game is phenomenal. The ship control is very intuitive. Once you actually get used to it, because to interact you have to hit R, which might be weird for some people, but that's because Q and E is your up and down orientation, and everything is oriented with your ship.
Is it controller based?
I do not believe it is, mostly because there's so much functionality that you really need a keyboard.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can achieve your tilt or your side to side tilt. Is that yaw? No, yaw is side to side. By holding left control and turning your mouse side to side, you can do that. You can also hit, I think, V and B or something and do that. But it's very the control is very good. Obviously, the science behind it isn't super big. Like, you have thrusters on your ship; they can face one direction, and that's fine. You don't need air everywhere, But the cool thing,
Newtonian physics.
Maybe.
So could you have thrusters on opposite directions? Just have a ship that doesn't work.
No, all the thrusters.
Can you make your ship like flip, like hurtling through space, like flipping?
Like, that'd be amazing.
But
Well,
there is.
Go ahead.
Well, there is a certain amount of inertia. Like, if you completely lose power, you're just going.
Okay, so quasi
in space. Yeah, I was gonna say, in space there's no friction, so you would forever go.
Exactly. But because you have thrusters, if you stop holding down the front, the thrusters are gonna stop and then slow you down. You can hold left shift to completely stop yourself. Excuse me. And the coolest thing about this is you can excuse me, build a very large ship with a docking bay, and then have docking areas. Build smaller ships that fit into those areas. Fly those ships into those areas. Hit a button. It'll dock to that ship. You can walk to the bigger ship and fly that ship away.
Wow.
You can have auto turrets built onto your ship that will shoot at pirates or other people in your faction, because this game is, or people not in your faction, because this game, like every single game, is a server. You start up a game, it's a server. You can open up a server and it's fine, but this game is designed around multiplayer play. I recommend you pretty much almost exclusively play with a friend, and at $20, currently I think $15 on sale, you can't beat it.
It's $10.
Oh, it's $10 on sale?
$10.
$10.
On the website, I clicked on buy, and it is currently on sale, down $5 from $15 to $10.
So what was that about buying it for us, Tech?
Man, I don't know, but
Merry Christmas.
like, once you get a hang of the controls, you don't even have to worry about crafting. There's crafting in this game. Don't even worry about it. Find asteroids, find a planet, find an abandoned space station, and just harvest it. You'll get more than enough stuff you need. Build awesome ships, anything you can ever imagine. Building is super, super simple in this game. And I just can't say anything anything that is really bad about this game. Seriously.
I was gonna say, you can't say anything.
Sounds like Minecraft just mashed together with EVE Online. Sounds pretty good.
No, yeah, I was thinking that too.
Yeah, you're right.
Yep.
Wow.
Interesting. I'm gonna have to check this out.
This thing is amazing. It is on Windows, Mac, and Linux. I checked their download page. And currently on Steam, Greenlight / Early Access, however that's going.
And they actually just got onto Steam relatively recently. I over a year ago, this game was free, but you could pay $4 for like the deluxe upgrade edition. So I was like, $4, that's nothing. I paid $4, didn't see anything about it. I stopped playing for about a year. All of a sudden it comes back up and they're like, hey, we've Steam. And I'm just like, yes, connected my account to Steam, have it on Steam, playing it on Steam.
Like, honestly, as we've been recording, I love the idea of this. I've been watching a couple of the trailers for this, and oh my god, like, they've got Star Trek, they've got Star Wars ships, like Slave One,
Futurama in there.
Yeah, the Futurama ship, or Planet Express ship, like, they've got everything going. You could do it all. But as I've been doing this, my wife and my son have been sitting here in the living room while I've been recording, playing Minecraft, and all I can think is, oh my god, they're gonna love this.
Yep. And the cool thing is that if you land on a planet, you can sort of play small scale Minecraft. It's like, oh yeah, there's some rock. Yeah, there's some ore. It's not the same, but
totally don't care. Spaceships.
Yes.
Yeah.
You've got spaceships. That's all you need.
Rev, just remember, you can make Rev's Giant Penis Incorporated starship, which is just a huge dick with the guns literally shooting out.
Wait, how many guns and where would the gun be located?
As many as you can fit into it, as long as you have the power for it.
I was going to say one, but
okay. but
well, like technically I have 3. Never mind.
Oh god,
and they also
should go to the doctor.
Getting back to the game, they've got really awesome mechanics for power generation, shielding, and all that with different sort of shaped building styles. So if you make just a solid cube of just pro tip right here. if you make just a solid cube of power generation, it's not going to be as efficient if you make it in an L formation or a 3-dimensional T with like, you know, a 5 row and then a 5 row and then a 5 up. So it's making like 2 L's in 3D space, because it's basically saying, oh, the power generation is filling that entire cube, so you can make super efficient engines in really small areas and just save so much space and energy. And it's so cool how these mechanics are implemented.
And I just want to say the developer, because we didn't mention it yet, is Shine and GmbH. That's what it lists on Steam. And you can actually buy a 4-pack for $30. So that's like one free game out of the 4. If you want to play with your friends or give it to your family, things like that. So, I know this game's amazing.
Robin.
Well, let's put it back into our pants.
No, I'm not putting it back. Dude, you can hire NPC crew members for your giant fuck-off spaceship.
You can hire NPC crew members to host a rave inside of your spaceship.
That got even better. I still can't get over the name though.
StarMade?
When I hear the name, I got back from Japan. When I hear Maid, I think of Maid Cafe, something like a space-themed Maid Cafe, and I'm like, what? Like, this is just weird. Then you showed me the game, I was like, okay, that's pretty cool.
Makes sense. But yeah, let's just tuck it back in for just a second, because we've been talking about it for a while, and you can tell everyone's gushing, so everyone listening to this should go buy the game and tell them that Indie Game Riot sent you, and they will, I don't know, give us a pat on the back or something.
Robin, props to you. Props to you. This is a fantastic game.
Absolutely. But I think it's time for us to head on to another segment of the show. By going mobile.
Oh.
And on Going Mobile this week, we've got Jump and Thump. It sounds kind of lame.
Sounds like a Friday night in your bedroom.
Sounds kind of dirty.
The mattress mambo, the horizontal slam dance. Yeah, actually, horizontal slam dance.
That kind of matches
describes this game.
There you go.
So this game is absolutely fantastic. That's all I have to say. Simon Bergquist. It is an arcade game. I don't know if it is available on iOS because I don't give a shit. But it is on the Play Store. You can play it on your tablet or Android phone. Relatively simplistic in terms of its concept. You're a 3-dimensional pixel, so a box, and you're sliding on a path, and you're jumping over shit. And it sounds like that is super simple, and nobody's going to ever have any problems with this. But my high score, and I've been playing it now for 2.5 hours, is 25, and you only earn points as you jump over spikes and like the super jumps over gaps. Like as I'm playing it right now, yeah, I just fucked up jumping over a 3 block, and my score is 7. So really simplistic. Tap to jump and have fun with this. Like because we've been recording as I've been playing, I don't know what the soundtrack is like, but the gameplay alone, it's fun, it's quick, it's easy. Damn it, go play it.
I would imagine that the soundtrack is pretty good, because in these kinds of games, simplistic graphics, pretty simplistic gameplay, that's usually the part that shines, especially when you're jumping, you know, with a kind of have to get into a rhythm and kind of gets you pumped up and things like that. So unless it's completely silent, and then
I've turned on the volume of my phone.
Okay.
And let's see. I'm going to hold it up to my mic and play. Oh, I died. Oh, I died.
You sound very good at this game.
Oh, I died.
I'm trying to play it at an angle.
Someone pull this into a remix. Oh, I died. Oh, I died.
Yeah.
I'm trying to play it at an angle so you guys can get it up to my mic, but that makes my timing and vision off.
Yeah, more often than you.
There you go.
Okay, so soundtrack is kind of quasi techno,
It's there.
and
Wow, this is hard. I got to 2.
Everyone's playing it. The show just shuts down.
Yeah.
Everyone's playing Jump and Thump. So that should tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. Jump and Thump makes you quit your life. And that's how good it is.
It's worth it.
And it's free.
And it is on mobile and tablet. Simon, well done. I am currently voting this up. I'm G+ing it and giving it another phone call. And
I turned on the volume.
I turned up my volume and suddenly my phone rings.
Someone in your house probably heard that you were turning it on. They were like, let's fuck with him.
Let me call him and check.
It's my husband. There was.
I knew it. Unless it was Clayton in the chat.
Right?
Hey man, can I be on the show now?
That's your 15 minutes of fame.
Yeah. No, we shouted him out before. So, yeah, I apologize, Simon. I'm not normally this scatterbrained, but damn it, things are cool and I'm drunk. And
he's having fun playing.
The game is awesome. It is so much fun.
You know what else is fun?
What?
A show that never ends. I'm just kidding. That would actually eventually not be fun. But this show is coming to an end, unfortunately. All good things do come to an end. However, if you are listening to this live stream, just so you know, we normally, in our edited versions, have gameplay footage, bumpers, background music, all that sort of stuff. And this week, our background music is by Connor, O-R-T Linning. You can go check his work out at connorlinning.com and go tell him that Indie Game Riot sent you, because and show him some love, because indie game musicians need love too. They're a big part. Audio, as we just discovered, is a big part of games, and they need all the support they can get. And actually, I think he has a Bandcamp too, so you can always support him that way. So thank you, Connor, for allowing us to feature your music. If you want to be featured on the show like Connor or like Ben, you can actually contact us in various different ways. We're on YouTube. That's where our recorded versions are, youtube.com/JaShinYa Gaming. You can also find us on Twitter at IGR Podcast or Facebook/IGR Podcast. And our website is indiegameriot.com, where we have articles and news, and the episodes are all on there for you to listen to or watch. And you can contact us through our website. Our email is contact@indiegameriot.com. Well, this was a fun show. Thank you, Ben, by the way. Thank you again.
Thank you for having me. I'm slightly distracted by this jumping and thumping right now, but thank you. It's been a blast.
It's been
I got to
fun
19. I was so excited that I died.
You're going to rub it in Rev's face. I'm about to beat his record. There you
so
go.
close. Next time. But yeah, thank you again for having me. It's been a blast.
Yeah, man.
Thank you for coming on. I am so excited for your game.
Thank you. I'll send you guys some keys once it's actually ready to be released.
Sweet. That's the only reason we're doing it. I'm just kidding.
And also,
I do it. It was a test.
because I'm big on that.
All right. Well, any last words, gentlemen?
I think we covered it.
Yeah.
I've got nothing.
My StarMade.
Say goodbye. Say goodbye.
I'm adding a StarMade character to Chester United now. It's just going to be a
Yes!
fancy
Fantastic.
galaxy made. Just going to clean things with Stardust.
I'll see you next time, guys.
Have a good one, folks.
Toodles.
Toodles. Yeah, I made a terrible discovery. If you put gin in coffee, it tastes kind of like Fruit Loops, but in a really bad way, but almost kind of good.
Like, this Fruit Loops tastes like mouse shit in it, but, you know.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Mouse shit Fruit Loops coffee.